The Worcester City Council has voted to send a petition to the state to remove the Chief of Police and Deputy Chief positions from the civil service. My name's Tom Matthews, and on this episode of The Buzz, I'll be talking to the city manager to find out why the city wanted to do this and what it means for the department. All right, Mr. Manager, Council voted to send a petition to the state to remove the Chief of Police and Deputy Chief positions from the civil service. First things first, what is the civil service?
That's a great question. A lot of people probably asking themselves that same question. Civil service is a state process. It's a state law. Chapter 31, personnel administration rules. And what it is it gives the authority to be able to be selected or appointed for qualified positions. And so anyone that's going through a civil service process has to take an exam and go through a rigorous process to be able to be selected through that process. And then has to somewhat go through some of an academy and get trained and get all the qualifications that is needed, get the certifications that is needed to then be in the position. And the initial idea of creating a civil service process is to eliminate any potential corruption when you're trying to select individuals, by personally selecting individuals to be part of a police department or fire department or DPW, etc. They have to all meet certain criteria and go through a rigorous state process to be able to be selected.
All right, so the administration brought this petition forward to council. They voted on it. Why did you feel like it was important to bring this forward to council to remove the Chief of Police and Deputy Chief positions from civil service?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of conversation around civil service across the state, especially here in this community, where we know and we have understanding that civil service could be a strenuous process that sometimes could be inequitable. And so what we wanted to do here is we wanted to lead with the equity, and that's been at the forefront of our administration. It allows more autonomy for the leadership, myself, the city manager, to make decisions and appoint individuals that either one have the merit, have the skills, the experience, etc., and not have to be tied into that civil service process where you have to select individuals from within those ranks or within that list. You can go outside of the list and get the most qualified candidates to be able to be selected in ways that we can be more equitable.
All right, so what happens next?
So right now the petition, it's a home rule petition, and it's going to go to the state delegation. They would bring it forward to the state, and then it will go through the state process. It would have to go into different committees where there would be engaged, there would be conversations, and then eventually the delegation has to approve it. Once the delegation approves it, it comes back to us, and now it gives me the ability now to determine the next steps for the Chief of Police and the deputies.
All right, some people might be wondering, why not just remove the entire department from civil service?
It's a big process to do that. And it's a big process for the city of Worcester because we have over 400 employees in the police department that are on the civil service. And so it requires a lot of work. One, it requires the capacity to be able to manage that. The state has an HRD, a human resource department. It has a civil service commission. It has all the entities that support and regulate this work. If we take that in-house, we now need to have all that protections as well to those individuals, and that's a lot of work. There's capacity issues there, but also could be resources as well that we would need to take into consideration. It's a big process. It's a daunting process. Many communities across the state have removed civil service from their police departments, and that's been successful in those communities. But when you look at those communities, they're very small communities, whether it's 15, 20, or 30 officers in that community. You're not looking at 400. However, one of the things that we were able to accomplish through the negotiations of one of the contracts with the police department, the patrolmen's union, we were able to negotiate to include a review. We're going to analyze it, and we're going to determine whether that's something that the city of Worcester, whether it's feasible for us to remove or is not, or do we need to keep it. So that's something that we've been able to negotiate with the unions, and we're going to embark on that. So.
All right, is there anything else folks should know?
No, I think this is this is a historic moment for the city of Worcester. The first time the city of Worcester embarked in this kind of effort to remove the police chief and the deputies, and so we're excited about it. The police department has been a huge support, a huge effort in working with us along the way in getting this done. So again, it's not just credit to myself, it's credit to everybody working together to make sure we achieve this.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Manager. And thank you for tuning in. If you're not already following us on social media, go give us a follow and head on over to worcesterma.gov to find out everything else that's happening in the city.